Hey, my name is Jared Moon, and I'm part of a group of underground athletes you've probably never even heard of before. We don't rely on fancy equipment for training, and most of us don't even have gym memberships. In fact, our motivation comes from within. You see, we have jobs, families, and responsibilities, but we still have big goals, and they aren't getting achieved at a global gym. For that reason, we have to do things differently. Our training has to be smarter. We don't have every piece of equipment known to man or a ton of time to train, and we don't need it, because we are achieving amazing things without it. So how do we do it? If you ask your average personal trainer or gym goer, they'd call us crazy. Yet we're seeing results better than most every single day. And it's happening by blending mental training with physical training and becoming an athlete. What we call, and welcome to, Garage Gym Athlete.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Jared Moon here with Joe Courtney. What's up, Joe?
What's up, man? Doing fantastic.
Yeah, we have Tynan, Rolander, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, I am excited to jump into this, man. We've spoken before, and I'm fairly familiar with your background and what you're doing. So I'm excited for the rest of the Garage Gym Athlete community to get caught up and know the same stuff. So I'm going to let you take it away. Basic introduction stuff, who you are, what you do, how you train.
So my name's Tynan Rolander. I'm based in Northern Virginia. I actually work at a high school. I coach football and I teach leadership here, but I've been training for most of my life. I started lifting weights pretty seriously when I was in high school for football, and then I went to the Citadel down in Charleston, South Carolina, and kept working out. I always find myself coming back to the basic weightlifting stuff, and when I got back out of college, I came back here and started coaching. I've been working out pretty consistently and training since then. So most of it's been around, weightlifting and strength-based stuff. But the last couple years, I've started to transition towards more of a functional lifestyle. I don't really need the front squat 585 pounds anymore, but I still want to be strong.
Yeah, that's an incredible front squat. Is that a real number?
Yeah. No. I don't say that to brag, but I think it was in 2015. So not too long ago was probably the strongest, just raw strength I've ever been. I was front squatting 585. I was cleaning 315. I was deadlifting 530, 545. So I was probably at the peak of my raw strength. And then right around that same time, I herniated a disc in my L5-S1 on my back, and it sent me back a bunch. And it's actually how I got into Garage Gym Athlete and working with you guys at EO3, because I got hurt. I took a step back. I wasn't really sure if I was going to be able to do the same stuff I had been doing, and it was some of the stuff that I loved to do. It was what I did. It's how I de-stressed myself. So when I found you guys and found what you guys were doing and what you guys were about, it was helped me get back into lifting. I don't know if competitive is the right word, but lifting competitively and being able to do some things that I haven't been able to do in a while.
I want to stay on this topic just for a second before we move on, because I think a lot of people run into this, myself included. So, I chased numbers on the barbell for a long time, time. And so now it's only more recently, I'd say the last couple of years, like I'm definitely not okay with being complacent or getting weak by any stretch of the imagination, but right. I'm okay with not, shooting for a 600-pound deadlift and just having really solid, numbers, but also being really well-rounded. Have you found any struggle as someone, because those are some serious numbers on the barbell. Have you found any struggle with not specifically chasing down, stronger, bigger numbers on the barbell and trying to be more well-rounded? Has that been a mental struggle at all?
It was when I first stepped back and stepped away from doing the heavy barbell lifts and trying to figure out, well, I still want to be strong. I still want to be fit. I still want to be able to do a lot of things that I had been doing, athletically. But how was I going to be able to do that without lifting? It took me a while to figure it out. And I spent some time kind of dabbling in a little bit of CrossFit. I spent some time doing some strict body weight stuff, trying to figure it out. And for a while, it was really tough not being able to look at a board or a barbell and say, yeah, I can bench 315. I can front squat 585. I can do all those things and be okay with it. And it was really difficult, but as I transitioned into more of just a, you know what, I'm okay with being strong, not being able to do 585 because I don't really need to anymore. And I like I said it once, but I'll say it again. You guys have really helped put me into the space I am now, where I'm really okay with, deadlifting 425 is still pretty damn good.
Yeah, that's still great. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is good enough, and what else can we focus on? Now, let's hear a little bit about your setup, man. Where are you training at? What kind of equipment do you have? All that good stuff.
So as far as where I train, I've been really, really blessed and lucky. I haven't had to start my own garage yet. And I come into the high school weight room that I work at around 5 o'clock every morning to lift, so I can get a good lift in, and be in my own, my own space. But I've got everything from free weights, let's see, I got a bear squat, we got power rushers, we got, leg press, we got full dumbbell racks all the way up to about 125 pound dumbbells. So if you have something programmed in there, I'm probably going to be able to do it without a whole lot of adjustments. So I've got just about everything. So like I said, been really, really blessed and lucky to not have to, try and build one myself yet, but yeah. The day's coming.
Yeah, that's the secret. I think if you can't have your own garage, then just go be a high school coach somewhere where they have a decent weight room, and then
I'm telling you, man. yeah, it's helped out. That's for sure.
Sleds and fields and all kinds of
all of it. Yep, all of it.
Yeah, man, it's like a playground. I know. Right when there's a time period when I just graduated college and I hadn't gone active duty yet. There's about a six month lag time before I was starting. So I came back to, my home area, and I didn't really have anywhere to train necessarily, and talked to some of the old high school football coaches, and they were like, yeah, you could use our space. Man, it's so awesome just because you can, like Joe was saying, like you could go out on the field and do something. You have a track nearby. You can lift weights. Like that really is probably my ideal perfect setup because it's like a playground for fitness, and it's just amazing.
You got that right, man. Yeah, like it's been fun to be able to go out and do just about whatever I wanted to do on any given day. So it's definitely a blessing.
That's great, man. Now, what are some of your goals right now? We kind of talked about not worrying as much about massive numbers on the barbell. So what are you doing right now? What kind of things are you after?
So when I picked up with you guys and I started doing one barbell, and I took the EO3 fitness test, and I was looking at all the benchmarks that you guys use, I was pretty well rounded out on all of the strength metrics, with the exception of my overhead press. When you had in there for a competitor, you should be able to strict press at least your body weight, if not more. And I did my test, and I was strict pressed in like 155. That to me was something that I could then, okay, well now I can set myself here. And I think I tested out established on the majority of the activities except for the strength-based stuff. So then it became about what can I do to become a competitor at all of these different things. And a lot of the different areas, whether cardio-based or mixed modal-based, I wasn't in that range yet. And I wanted to be, because I knew that to continue my life, in fitness, I was going to have to be, because I couldn't just do all the strength-based stuff. So for me right now, it's more about how can I take the areas that I am the weakest at and make those better. And whether that's a 5 pound better, 10 pound better, whether it's shaving a minute off my mile or 30 seconds off my mile, I'm working towards those goals. And once I get to that point, it'll be about going back to the beginning and really refining and perfecting all of my movements.
That's awesome, man. And so going after that competitor level fitness that we've established here at Into 3 Fitness would you say that's kind of like your overall goal? Like
yeah.
All the metrics there?
Yeah. If and when I get to that point where I can look at and do that test and come up on competitor level with all of them, I'll be a pretty satisfied man.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's a very worthy goal.
What area are you struggling with the most? Or would you say are the hardest?
So aside from the strict press, it's a lot of the running and the rowing and kind of the I'm trying to think about the best way to describe it. it's more the strength endurance aspect of what we do, or what you guys have programmed in there, where I'm struggling most and kind of building.
Yeah. Those are some difficult areas to get in, and to improve quickly. It does take a couple cycles to.
It's the most painful too.
Yeah.
Work on the 2K row.
Oh my God. That thing is awful.
2K row is
awful
crowd pleaser right there.
Yeah.
So, well, tell me, you talked about dabbling a little bit before you found us. What were you doing pre-garage gym athlete? You've been into fitness the majority of your life. So I guess kind of walk me through that journey.
Yeah. In high school, I was playing football, played a little bit of baseball, a little bit of lacrosse, and I was lifting weights. And then when I got into college, I met a guy named Luke Waddell was his name. I met him my junior year. He transferred into our company from a different battalion, and he had asked me if I wanted to come work out with him. So yeah, sure, let's go. And that was the first time I got introduced to anything CrossFit based. And we did, I can't remember what we did. I think we did something like, we either did Cindy or Fran. We did one of the ladies. And immediately after that workout, I said, man, you know what? That was hard. I want to do it again. And so I started to build into my regular strength training routines some type of CrossFit-like workout, whether it was something that I kind of came up with on my own, where I was doing, burpees and then, 50-meter sprints and sit-ups, or if it was an actual program workout that I would go on to CrossFit.com and pull up the WOD of the day. I started to try and build those into what I was doing and also continue lifting weights. And so that part of my dabbling started there. And then, when I got out of college, there goes my headphone. When I got out of college, I came back here and I got back into weightlifting pretty heavy, because I started lifting with our offensive line coach who played at Akron in college. And dude is 6'5", 6'6". He weighed 300 pounds, but boy, he could move like he weighed 150. He's an athlete. So he was about lifting weights. So I started lifting weights again and kind of dropped that part of my training off. And then, like I said, I hurt my back and I took a step back. And so I knew that if I couldn't lift heavy, there were other things that I could do. And so I started piecing together, bodyweight workouts. I would go online and look up, what best bodyweight routine, or I would go back to CrossFit every now and again. I bought a couple books on how to develop and put together a WOD for yourself, for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. And I started looking at all those things. And then as I was doing that, I would scroll on Facebook every now and again, and boom, there'd be O3. There'd be Garage Gym Athlete. And I looked at it, and I said, I'll come back to it. And I would go again for a couple months, and boom, it would come up again. So I finally said, screw it. I'm gonna dig into this thing and see what these guys are about. And I did a little bit of background research as much as I could, and I saw one man barbell and said, I'm going for it. What's the worst that could happen? I stay the same. But I can tell you this, within the first cycle of one man, one barbell, I could see, feel a noticeable difference in my performance, whether it was the conditioning that was afterwards or just the lifts that I was doing. It was bench, press, deadlift, and squat, but they were all going up relatively quickly, and I was getting in much better shape than I had been programming for myself. So that's kind of how I got to where I am.
That's really cool, man. And I want to hear a little bit more about your experience, as a coach, because you get to really influence a lot of kids out there, in the fitness space. So, I would just like to hear more about that. Maybe what you've seen. It's been a while since I was, in high school, just kind of what you've seen as a coach and, with the kids and how you help influence them.
So I've been really blessed to be with a head coach here that's been coaching in Virginia and in the county that I work in for 35 to 40 years. So he's been doing this job for about as long as I've been alive. And he does a fantastic job of putting together a really strong, structured, really strong program. So I walked into a situation where the kids that I was working with already had a really good base level of what the expectations were in the weight room, what the expectations were in the field. And all I really had to do was kind of facilitate our head coach. But to that end, I've had kids come back to me. We had one come back this year who just got picked up to start buds.
Oh, nice.
This summer. And when I can tell you, the kid, when he was here, he was a little bit of a dodo, man. He was all over the place. He never really bought into what we were doing. At least it didn't seem like it. And he was kind of out doing his own thing most of the time. But he came back to us a few weeks ago and said, wanted to thank myself and our head coach, Coach Bononi. He said, if you guys hadn't done with me what you did, I don't know that I would be where I am. And we hold our kids to a really high standard, both in the weight room, on the field, and whatever they do. And that part for me has been the most rewarding, is having kids come back and say, Coach, what you did for me changed my life. And so it's been awesome. It's been awesome, from teaching kids how to power clean all the way to how you should treat another person in a win or a loss, from the basic all the way to the most complex situation you could find yourself in as a high school kid. I've been able to have a pretty profound impact on a couple kids so far. So that's
really awesome.
It's been really awesome.
Yeah, it's really fulfilling. Fulfilling mission that you're a part of, is if you can, like you said, teach them, just impact them at such a big level, not just like, do the movement, not just a power clean. Yeah. It's like really teaching them how to be, better humans and send them off as strong as you can. I think that's that's really cool, man. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
You did perfectly, man. All right. So let's get to some of these other questions. These are some of the more fun ones. So what's the hardest workout you've ever done?
Oh boy. All right.
I knew there was going to be a fun one.
I saw that on the prep list to get ready for this thing. And so I think one of you guys posted it as a question on the board on Facebook, and I answered it within 5 minutes. I have a brother. My brother had open heart surgery last summer to remove a bunch of blood clots in his lungs.
Oh yeah.
So when he was doing that, he did it out in San Diego, and I couldn't really be with him. So I had to figure out a way that I could. I needed to do something because I couldn't be with my brother while he was doing this. So I hit up and called a buddy of mine who works and manages a CrossFit gym over in Arlington. I said, hey, man, look, this is what I'm trying to do. The surgery lasts 10 hours. What do you think? And he said, I have something that I do here at the gym for breast cancer awareness. We do 12 workouts in 12 hours. And I said, okay, done. That's what I'm going to do. And so I put together a list of 10 of the ladies that I was going to do the day of his surgery. To coincide with when his surgery started until when it ended. And the day came, I put together my list. It was Fran, Cindy. I can't remember all 10 of them right now, but they sucked. And I started to coincide with him. I had to start my workouts around 5:30, and I ended on about 3:30 or 4:30 in the afternoon. But every hour on the hour, I was doing a workout. And then in between each workout, I would take the time. I sat down, I prayed a rosary, and then I drank a little bit of water and went right back out and did another one. I had about, 20 minutes or so between each workout, give or take. That by far has been the most difficult workout that I've ever done.
Yeah, that is a marathon of Metcons. Maybe that'd be a good name for it. The Metcon Marathon. That's pretty impressive, dude. No doubt about it.
So,
all right. In your opinion, what's the best activity for building mental toughness?
Doing something like I just described, doing something that is going to put yourself in a position or a space where it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. And at least from my perspective, if you know what you're going into is going to be difficult, but there is an end, it makes it a little bit easier to push through whatever difficulty it might be, whether it's a workout or an SAT or an 8-hour drive. If it's going to be hard, but it's going to be hard, and there's something tangible to reward or to gain at the end of it, it makes it easier to push through something like that. But that type of situation is probably the best thing that I can describe to build mental toughness. I went through it for, I don't know, a year or so at the Citadel when I was a freshman.
Yeah.
If you didn't build some mental toughness in your freshman year there, you were probably going to be out the door pretty quick. So, putting yourself in those positions goes a long way in developing that kind of mental mindset.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. That's how was the Citadel?
The first year there wasn't the it wasn't the best, but looking back at what I did and what I went through there, it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made in my life. And I tell people all the time, I'd go back and do it again in a heartbeat. It's funny. I have a penchant for injuring myself when I'm ready to do important things in my life. The first week I was there, we were making backing for our insignias. And so I drenched them all in heel and sole to harden up the cloth belt that we got. And we had to cut them into 1 inch by 1 inch squares. So my squad sergeant put me in charge of making all the backing for our squad. So I was cutting them up, and I had an X-Acto knife. And I thought that, I wouldn't fit. I couldn't get the davits to fit on the back of the insignia and the belt. So I took an X-Acto knife, and I was trying to shave it in my hand, shave it off. The knife slipped, and I cut both tendons in my pinky in half the first week. Yeah. So I had surgery. So I spent like the first 3 or 4 months while I was at the Citadel as a freshman in a sling, not being able to do a lot of the physical fitness stuff that the rest of my classmates were doing. So I was kind of left off to the side to just be there and get yelled at and not be able to run, do push-ups, do all the stuff that my other classmates were. So that experience really kind of helped shape how I approach difficult situations, because it definitely was different.
Yeah. That's a serious X-Acto knife injury there.
Yeah.
It's intense.
It was interesting.
I mean, if you could only have one piece of equipment to train with for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Knowing what I know now and being able to do what I do now, it would be a kettlebell. And if you asked me 3 years ago, I would tell you a barbell, but there's just too many things that you can do with a kettlebell that you can't do with just a barbell. So I'd be a kettlebell 100%.
I love it.
I don't even know if I could ask my question. Is your high school gym lacking anything?
How about if you were to start a garage gym, what would your first piece of equipment be?
There you go. That too.
If I had to go back and start a garage gym right now, it probably would be a barbell, just because I like barbell lifting, but realistically, it would probably be a set of kettlebells. It really would. I would be limited with what I would be able to do, functionally, strength-based, all of it. I'd be really limited with just a barbell. Not that you can't do all of those things with just a barbell, but your ability to do more is so much more expanded with a kettlebell.
Yeah. All right, man. A lot of garage gym athletes out there listening to this. What would your best advice be for them?
Go to church. If you don't believe in God, find something to believe in. I go to church every Sunday, and it is the most mentally, I'm not compressing, but it helps me find my space and find myself at the end of a week. Something to believe in and be able to lean on and use as a rock, whatever it is, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, whatever it is, find something that you can believe in and then hold on to that when you get into difficult situations.
I think that's phenomenal advice, man. I really appreciate that. Well, it's been awesome getting to share your story and have you on the podcast. And I just appreciate you being part of the Into3 Fitness community and Garage Gym Athlete, and appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Thanks.
Amen.